Hey loves, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Illustra. I'm also the founder of Positive Pathways. That is my HSV support community. If you're in need of a community, you need support, you need advice, you need to hear others' experiences while living with HSV, disclosing, dating, just rebuilding their confidence, definitely click the link in my bio and join Positive Pathways Discord group. Now that that's out the way, let's talk about how to disclose. We talked about when you should disclose, but how do you actually disclose? And for me, it's actually fairly easy, right? But let's talk about the basics. So before you actually disclose, again, make sure that this is someone that you can trust, right? Remember I talked about being able to trust them, being able to be transparent, someone who has high emotional intelligence, right? So before you actually disclose, you want to make sure that you choose the proper time and setting. You want to make sure that you have your emotions in check. So you want to be calm, right? You don't want to be extremely anxious, like just all over the place, because they'll pick up on that. And you want it to go smoothly. You want to have a good experience. So make sure that you're calm. Make sure that you choose a setting. Now, this can be a public setting. So maybe you guys are get ready to go on a date and you do it at the dinner, or maybe you guys are doing an activity. I don't know. You do it there, or you can do it in a more private setting, more intimate setting, maybe back at your place or their place, and you guys are just sitting down, you guys are talking, chilling, vibing, and then you decide to have this conversation. Whatever works. It's all about personal preference. Be honest, I don't personally have a preference. I just kind of do whatever I feel like in the moment. But for others, I always say, go based with whatever makes you feel the most comfortable, right? Do you feel comfortable doing it in public? Do you feel more comfortable doing it back at home versus you two? And you can really focus, and you don't have to worry about the cost of scene because it's at the house, so no one would know. Just, you know, up to you. Also, I always recommend to do it in person if you can. Doing it in person is the best because you can really get to read the room and your discernment will kick in, right? Because a lot of times this is what happens. People will disclose, the person will say, oh yeah, I'm cool with that, and then ghost, right? So when you're in person, you can kind of get a feel a little bit, not always, but you have a better chance of getting the feel if that person is just saying it to say it, just to hurry and get out of the situation and never talk to you again, right? And if you can't do it over the phone, in person, do it over the phone, right? So a phone conversation, it could be FaceTime or just regular, just like talking on the phone. Texting is last resort. Texting is last resort, and I'm going to tell you why. And this is just my personal opinion. Others may feel differently. Have I disclosed? Sorry guys, I have something in my eye. My goodness. Have I personally disclosed via text? Absolutely. But I really didn't like that person, and I was trying to get him out my face. But I don't recommend disclosing via text, and the reason being is because let's just say you didn't read this person correctly and maybe they're not mature enough to handle this information. They can screenshot and then share with the group chat or try to expose you. So to kind of protect ourselves from that, I think it's best to do it in person or over the phone. Granted, over the phone, could they still record a conversation? Absolutely. But you have a better chance of them sharing a screenshot than them doing a recording of a conversation, right? So I think that it's best to stick with phone conversation or in person. But again, that's my personal preference. If you feel comfortable enough to do it via text, and maybe text messaging is the only option that you have readily available to you, like you can't get this person on a call, the phone, you can't see them in person for some time, and it's just bugging you and you really need to disclose, then do what you gotta do. But last resort. So now we got to reset the stage, right? So how do you actually say it? How do you say, hey, I have herpes, I still want to talk to you? How do you say it, right? Me, personally, this is how I do it, okay? I'm very casual. I'm just like, you know? So like one guy, for instance, we were, again, I'm in St. Louis. This person was in Dallas. We were just talking, and I was just like, you know, we were just getting, you know how you're on the call and you're getting to know someone and you guys are just like, yeah, I do this, I do that, you know, this is what I do for my job and blah, blah, blah. I got a child, I have herpes, and you just kept talking. And then, the reason I'm laughing because, like, I don't know why I did this to him. It was so like, what? Because he paused. So I paused. He was like, wait, what? I said, I have herpes. Oh, and then you know, we got into like how I got herpes, whatever, but he was okay with it. It was a positive thing, but it threw him off because we were literally just going over, like, you know, you just like going over facts. Just like, yeah, just, you know, because we met off Hinge. So we took the conversation outward. We had talked a little bit on Hinge, but we were just, you know, getting to know each other. We were just having a conversation, and I just slid in there. Another time, I was talking to this guy, and my former partner's a narcissist, a covert narcissist. And I was talking to this guy. He's in Chicago, and he was just telling me about his past experiences. He was just telling me about, you know, he went through something really traumatic with his ex, but now he's healed and he's ready. He's in therapy. He's ready to move forward and date. Actually, you know, I was like, yeah, you know, I was up too with a narcissist, and, you know, little buddy actually, if you guys saw him, you understand why I call him little buddy. Little buddy actually gave me herpes. Now, it wasn't enough to just emotionally and mentally abuse me and financially abuse me. He gave me herpes. And he was like, wow, that took a lot to say. Because again, this is like, we also met on Hinge. This was like the second time that we have talked. And let me see. Yeah, that one was more so I was just sharing an experience. It fit, right? Like, because we're talking about our past relationships and why they ended and why you would never go back. So it kind of fit. I've disclosed to some of my former partners, and it was more so just like, listen, I have HSV. Like, I've had it this long. My ex gave it to me. They knew who my ex was because they knew I was dating him. And then this is what I'm doing to manage, right? But I think that the casual way, meaning how, like the guy that I told you that, you know, I kind of just slid it in there, and that's really my method, right? Just to slide it in there, because I honestly, I don't care, right? So it's just really easy to just slide it in there. I'm open to answering any questions. I always tell people, listen, if you're not ready for that, if you can't deal with that, then I respect your decision. Like, no hard feelings. Like, I get it. You know what I mean? Like, you can't hurt my feelings. Like, I'm fine. Because the way I look at it when I disclose, right, is if you don't accept me for having herpes, then that's your prerogative. Like, you're making an informed decision for you and your body, right? Your health. And that's okay. That just tells me that you're not my person. Because my person would accept me no matter what. Now, I always tell people, you got a few ways to disclose. You can do like me, just be really casual. You can kind of say, hey, you know, what are your plans this evening? I would really like to talk to you about something, because you see that the relationship's starting to grow. We're getting a little close. So I would love to, like, you know, maybe sit down, have a conversation, and just talk about where things are headed. And then, you know, you have this conversation. Hey, I'm so glad we were able to sit down and talk. This has been on my mind. I need to tell you something. It's really important, and it may impact the future of our relationship, right? I have HSV. I'm fine. I've accepted it. I've had it for X amount of time. If you know how you got it, like how you contracted it, you can tell them that, and tell them, you know, honestly, again, like I said, I am, you know, I've accepted it, and I'm managing my health, meaning I don't have any outbreaks, and I know how to take care of my body. I'm doing X, Y, and Z. But I just thought that I should tell you this if we're going to continue seeing each other. I thought it was important to be transparent and honest about what I have going on with my body. And I wanted you to be able to make an informed decision for yourself. And then just allow them the space, allow them space to process. That's a lot to process. You know, when you're vibing with someone and you're like thinking like, oh, I can really see something with this person. You're not thinking they're going to tell you that they have herpes. So give them time to process. If they pause, like, that's normal. Like, if they're silent, they're just processing. It's okay. And the reason I'm telling you this, because I know a lot of people get really anxious. They're overwhelmed with a lot of emotions. They're scared. Like, it's a fear. Because what if they reject me? Like, what if they're mean to me? Right? Just breathe. This is why I tell you to make sure that you're calm before you go into this. Allow them the space, okay, to process. Allow them to ask questions. And I get it. A lot of people, when people ask questions, they get super defensive. But if someone's asking you questions, that's a good thing. That's a good thing. That's a good sign. Allow them to ask questions. They're trying to see, can I deal with this? Is this something that I'm willing to deal with? Am I willing to take the risk? I'm trying to learn, right? A lot of people, believe it or not, a lot of people aren't actually educated on HSV, okay? A lot of people don't even know that HSV is herpes, okay? So a lot of them ask questions. So give them the space to ask the questions, answer them to the best of your abilities. If you need to call your doctor to set up a meeting, absolutely. Even like I personally, I've been on the phone with a man and a woman, or, you know what I mean, like people who are disclosing, and had conversations to kind of like ease that person's mind, right? Like to just give them more information about what herpes is and how to, like, you know, protect themselves as well as the partner who has it, to protect themselves so they don't transmit it to this person, right? You have options. Tell them resources, right? You could say, if you're part of Positive Pathways, you could say, I'm part of a support group, so I learned so much about herpes and I've been doing really well. Like, if you have questions, if I can't answer, I can ask them in the group and I can get back to you, right? As far as, so, you know, you lowering your chances of getting it, we can, you know, use protection. We can hold off on being intimate with one another. I'm okay with that, right? I just want you to be comfortable, right? I want us both to be comfortable with this. So if that's what you need, that's what you need. Now, if the person says, whew, whew, and they need space, like they need like days to process, allow them a few days to process. Don't bother them. Don't get in your head. Just keep yourself busy. Try not to think about it. And I know that's hard. I'm asking, it's a hard ask. But let them process. You have to allow them to process. Again, it's a lot. It was a lot for you when you found out. It's a lot for them because they genuinely like you. They care about you, right? And that's probably not what they thought that you were going to tell them. Now, the person's rude. The person's rude. Well, you get up with your head held high as if you guys are in person, and you walk out and you block that person and you never speak to them again. Never. Okay? Don't ever allow someone to treat you like you're nothing. Because no one asked to have HSV, right? You didn't ask for this, right? So don't allow someone to make you feel like you're less than them because you have herpes, right? So you get up and you remove yourself from the situation and you block them. That's if they're nasty towards you. And you know what I mean when I say nasty. Not because they said, you know what, this is a bit much. I don't think I can do this. That's not being nasty. That's being honest. And I much rather someone tell you, hey, right now where I'm at, I don't think I can deal with this. I don't think I'm ready for this type of responsibility to have to be cautious with my body. I mean, they should be already, but, you know, whatever. That's okay. That's them being respectful, right? Because you did the right thing. You showed integrity. You showed courage, right? A lot of people don't do that. So pat yourself on the back for doing that. But if they're nasty towards you and they make you feel a way, they're disrespectful. They call you names. They said that, ew, that's nasty, yuck, like you disgusting, like ew, ugh. You know how people are like, yeah, herpes, yeah. Cut them off. Please do not go back and forth with them. Do not expend any more energy on them, okay? Do not waste your energy. So do not let people play with you, okay? Do not. So I'll be honest, aside from the time that I had this guy who kept bugging me, right? He's been after me for a while. I finally was just like, I have herpes. Like, I was just like, you know I have herpes, right? It's been all over my social media because he's my Facebook friend. And he's like, I know I didn't know. But he literally ghosted me afterwards. Because, you know, sometimes you just be wanting to tell people I have herpes and for them to be like, okay, you know? Yeah, outside of that, I haven't had a negative disclosure. I have not been rejected. Yeah, no, I've had, actually, to be honest, I've had people, men are funny. I've had guys tell me, quite a few actually tell me they're willing to get herpes for me. Like, men are so unserious. Now, I will say that if you're a fellow and you're watching this, do men have a slightly harder time with disclosing? Yes, but I can tell you this, women are a lot more empathetic, so you do have that helping you out there, so don't get discouraged when having to disclose. For women, men fortunately do kind of go based off what they see, their visual. So as long as they think it looks good enough, they'll be willing to take the risk. And I'm just being honest. I'm being honest. It just is what it is. Now with women tend to be a little bit more cautious with their bodies, but they're a lot more empathetic to your situation. They're more likely to actually do the research and like weigh their options to see if they would want to move forward, proceed. So you guys, you have that working for you. You have that in your favor. But disclosing does not have to be difficult. It doesn't have to be scary. And once you do it 1 or 2 times, it gets a lot easier. It gets a lot easier. You'll start to figure out, okay, this is how I want to disclose, right? This is what the questions I expect them to ask, you know? Like if they go ghost, cool, whatever. Okay, on to the next. Like you'll eventually get, you know, you'll get comfortable with it. And it won't be like this big production in your mind, right? Where you're just like, lights, camera, action. You'll get to the point where it'll just be easy. It'll be easy. You won't have to think about it too much. Seriously, it'll happen. And you may decide after a few disclosures, you know, maybe I don't want to date people who don't have HSV. Maybe I would rather, maybe I'd rather date people with HSV. You know what I mean? That might be a conclusion that you come to too. But I'm going to tell you, there is love for you out there, right? You can find someone who has it or you can find someone who doesn't have it. But let me tell you, you can find love. There are people who have HSV, even HIV, who are in happy, healthy, loving relationships. But we just got to go through the process. We got to disclose. That's it. That's all. But if this resonated with you, make sure that you like, comment, subscribe.